The Demon King Manual is actually a suicide guide that trains heroes to kill you for free. Burj Dayas graduates top of his class and follows the rules. He builds a massive tower, kidnaps the princess, and helps the heroes grow. The manual says the stronger the hero, the tastier the soul. He becomes the strongest Demon King in history, but as the hero plunges a blade into his chest, the reality hits. His black flames do nothing. Burj coughs up blood, demanding to know how he lost, but this villain-looking hero just laughs in his face. He tells Burj, "Bro, you are in the wrong field." He explains that if he were a Demon King, he would have assassinated the human king immediately. Instead, Burj built them a gym. The hero grabs Burj by the hair and mocks him. He explains the first floor was full of weak monsters, making it too easy to level up. He says the tower is just a perfect hunting ground. If they kill one king, another just respawns. The party cheers, thanking Burj for the XP farm. They even call him their godfather for raising them so well. Burj realizes he didn't conquer the world, he ran a daycare for his own murderers. The hero says goodbye and slices Burj's head clean off. But as they celebrate over his corpse, Burj's body begins to scream with energy. He decides to take them all to hell with him. The hero spots the glow and screams for everyone to run. Too late. Burj detonates, evaporating the hero's skin and wiping the entire tower off the map. In his final moments, the Demon King bitterly understands that the standard was wrong. He now knows the heroes used it to look down on them. He wishes for just one more chance. He would screw the standards and give them to the orcs instead. A voice pierces the darkness, calling the name Burj Dayas. He wakes up, his eyes snapping open. He looks around in complete confusion, wondering if he is still alive. The voice calls again, urging Burj Dayas to come forward quickly. He recognizes his own name, still in shock. As another person pushes him to ascend the stage, the academy director scolds him. He asks why a brilliant mind is acting like this on his graduation day. Burj Dayas' eyes fall on the red badge, the symbol of graduating from the Demon King Military Academy. He realizes he has traveled back 15 years in time to his own graduation day. The announcer calls for all graduating students to come to the stage. Burj Dayas doesn't know why he has returned, but he knows this is his chance. The students, who will soon be Demon Kings, are told to recite their pledge. As the summa cum laude, Burj Dayas is asked to read it as the representative. The glowing text of the Demon King's standard appears before him. It lists the rules. Demon Kings shall build a tower, kidnap princesses, act as villains, leave clues, develop heroes to acquire energy, and stock lower floors with weak monsters to gradually increase the difficulty. He looks at the words with disgust. He had once memorized these trash rules. He did his best to follow them, and they became the very things that led to his demise and made him a puppet for the heroes. Standing there, he questions why he has to swear once again to follow this for the rest of his life in front of everyone. Knowing the result would be a catastrophe, he feels rage building at the thought of reciting these standards. An official calls to him again, asking him to please read the Great Demon King's standard. Burj Dayas cuts through all expectations with a shocking and blunt refusal. The graduating students look on in confusion and amazement, not understanding what is happening. He doesn't stop there, shouting that he cannot pledge himself to something so unbelievably stupid. He screams that following the standard is a foolish and fucked up act. He then declares loudly for all to hear that the Demon King's standard is trash. The entire hall is frozen in shock and horror at his unprecedented outburst. This was the moment the Demon King Military Academy's best summa cum laude ended up dead last. Archduke Arkin Blarumph slams his fist down, shouting the name Burj Dayas. He threatens immediate execution on the spot for the crime of insulting the Demon King's standards. However, he reconsiders. Considering Burj's previously exemplary conduct and outstanding talent, he will give him one final chance. Burj must withdraw his reckless statement and apologize to the entire demon realm. If he refuses, his assigned deployment will be to Aryn. The students begin to whisper nervously, one asking if Aryn is the dimension where demon kings die by the dozens. Another calls it a death sentence. One student questions why a criminal like him gets another chance, stating he deserves death for insulting the standards and that an apology is not enough. The Archduke warns Burj that he should know well what Aryn is. He calls it the worst domain where countless demon kings have lost their lives. Burj coldly demands to be sent there. He declares that he will go and prove the demon king's standards are garbage. The Archduke is left completely stunned. Calling him truly hopeless, he issues the decree. Effective immediately, Burj Dayas' deployment location is Aryn. He will receive no privileges normally granted to a top demon king. No demons will accompany him. Until the occupation of Aryn is complete, he is forbidden from returning to the demon realm. As Burj falls through space, he figures this is expected after the mess he caused. He realizes he is truly being sent back there. Back to Erin, the place where the heroes who killed him live. He reflects that even before he regressed, he had personally chosen Erin. He thought that the strongest, like him, should conquer the hardest difficulty. That arrogance cost him his life. Too many heroes that were exploiting the Demon King's standards. He lands in the snowy Urgest Mountains of the northern continent. He vows that he won't let it happen twice. This time, he will be the one to exploit what he calls the hero's standards. At the Demon Academy, Gordon Durek, the top demon graduate, makes sure he looks good. While the Demon King Academy trains demon kings, the Demon Academy trains the demons who serve them. A regulation states that the top demon serves the top demon king. Another student notes that Lucky Gordon will be serving Lord Burge. A third graduate wishes he'd worked a little harder so he could be the one to serve him. Gordon believes all demon kings are great people, but none are as great as Lord Burge. He calls him a once-in-a-millennium prodigy from the lineage of demonic dragons, who will be remembered in demon realm history forever. He thinks graduating in the same year as him is an enormous blessing. He imagines that with Lord Burge, they can conquer any dimension. He fantasizes about a grand statue of the great demon king and his lieutenant. He vows that he too will be engraved on the glorious pages of history. But then the memory shatters his fantasy as he remembers Burge's shocking declaration. The moment his hero screamed that the Demon King's standards are trash. Deep in the Urgest Mountains, Gordon stands before Burge. He feels lost, wondering why they sent him here after all, since they said no demon would accompany him. Burge greets him, saying it is good to see him, Gordon. Gordon breaks down, asking why he would do something like that. Burge asks him what he means. Gordon yells, asking how he could say such things about the standards in front of everyone, getting them sent to Erin. He screams that now he is going to die too. Burge calmly tells him to calm down or he'll rip his hair out. Gordon shrieks that his hair is not the issue right now. Burge internally notes how different Gordon is now. Before his regression, he was confident and composed. He recalls how his friend believed they could do it, that he wouldn't even feel motivated if it wasn't Erin. Burge understands Gordon's panic is justified since the situation is vastly different now. He decides against telling him about his regression, fearing Gordon might think he's insane. Panting, Gordon apologizes for his shameful display and says he will fulfill his duty now that it's come to this. He brings up the Demon King's standards. Rule 1. The Demon King must build a tower. However, he explains it cannot be hidden or placed in an excessively harsh environment. Only then would heroes be able to find it. He points out that this place is dangerous, surrounded by massive mountains and patrolled by powerful monsters, making it difficult for humans to find or approach. He insists they can't build a tower here and should move. Burge simply says no, he's building the tower right here. He holds out a tower seed, explaining that he must plant it in the ground and feed it Demon King blood for the tower to grow. Gordon is horrified, exclaiming that he is going directly against the standards. He asks if Burge is also throwing away the pride of a Demon King. Burge replies that he never swore an oath to follow them. He understands the disgust Gordon feels. He knows it is hard for a demon to deny a faith carved deep into their bones. One can't reject it unless they die or experience something as drastic as death. He knows this because that was him as well. Burge cuts his hand and tells Gordon to listen well. He states that the Demon King's standards are garbage, especially here in Erin. His blood drips onto the seed, causing it to glow with immense power. He explains that it is because Erin is swarming with way too many heroes. The tower begins the identification process, confirming its user is Burge Deas of the Black Flame Demonic Dragon Tribe. The identification completes and the summoning begins. Burge explains that Demon Kings kept dying here because humans, after countless tower destructions, realized the tower has a certain mechanism. They use the Demon King's standards against them. He declares that in this land, the standards no longer work. He says they should really be called the Hero's Standards, confusing Gordon. The tower materializes fully, and Burge tells him to go inside. They find themselves on the first floor of Burge Tower, but it is completely empty. Gordon notes that a normal tower should have a complex structure or be filled with monsters, but there is nothing here. It's a tower fit for a Demon King with no privileges. Even on the 5th floor in the Demon King's chamber, every floor is completely empty. Gordon concedes that since the tower is already built, they can't undo it. He insists they must at least follow Standards Rule 2, which states the Demon King must kidnap a prince or princess, preferably one close to the throne to yield more demonic energy. He asks to advise the Demon King. Burge allows it. Gordon shows him a map, pointing out that the kingdom of Corzin is the closest to the Urgest Mountains. He urges him to kidnap the princess with the highest succession rank to absorb the kingdom's rage and grow quickly. Gordon braces for refusal, but Burge agrees to do it. Gordon is stunned. Burge states that there is a princess he already has his eye on. He orders Gordon to guard the tower, saying the Demon King's residence must not be empty. Gordon expresses his thanks and relief, thinking Burge is the top Demon King after all. He convinces himself that Burge was just stressed from graduation and that the situation is still salvageable. He asks who Burge is planning to bring. Burge tells him he is going to the country farthest from the tower, the southernmost nation on the continent, the Kingdom of Hilderan. He appears in a dark castle, targeting the one with the least presence among them. He floats before the 13th princess, announcing that he has come to take her. Gordon is horrified, realizing that's the complete opposite of the standards. The princess looks up at him and asks who he is. Burge states that he is the Demon King who has come to kidnap her. With a faint, unsettling laugh, she asks if he is sure he can handle her, shocking him with her boldness. Burge finds her question strange, wondering if she thinks Demon Kings are a joke. He confidently confirms that of course he can, as he is a Demon King. The princess then completely surprises him by agreeing to let him take her. Suspicious of her strange calmness, Burge questions what she is plotting. The princess simply states that since she was born a princess, she always thought something like this might happen one day. He warns her to give up if she hopes to lower his guard. He explains that he is also quite desperate and won't be tricked. The princess denies plotting anything, pointing out that she couldn't have set a trap without knowing he would come. Burge acknowledges her point but can't shake an uncomfortable feeling. Extending her hand, she asks if they shall go. He lifts her into his arms and flies from the castle, returning to his tower in the Urgest Mountains. Gordon rushes to meet him, relieved that he has come back safely. Burge orders him to let the princess stay in a corner of the 4th floor, not the prison. He explains that since she came without much resistance, he is willing to offer her some leniency. Gordon understands and says he has something important to tell the Demon King. On the desolate 4th floor, the princess sits alone on the cold, hard ground. She murmurs to herself that she really has been kidnapped. She notes there is nothing there, no pillows, no blankets, and no maids. It's nothing like her kingdom with its pretty gardens. But with a small smile, she decides that it's not so bad. Back in the Demon King's chamber, Gordon shows Burge an invitation from the Tower of Beasts. He explains that it is a welcome party for the new Demon King. Burge thinks it is not a welcome party at all. He suspects it's just a pathetic attempt by the other Demon Kings to haze him, the newcomer, and throw their weight around. He considers that Demon Kings are fundamentally too proud to join hands with anyone. However, the unprecedented difficulties of airing have made them go against their pride and work together. He admits to ignoring them before, thinking them weak-minded. But this time, he decides he should at least try to have some light exchanges with them. Burge arrives at the Tower of Beast. He is met by its ruler, Draxon, the Demon King of Beasts, who has ruled the place for 70 years. Draxon asks if he is the new Demon King. He mentions he heard Burge mock the traditional way, but finds him pretty unimpressive. Burge coolly asks if he is here to pick a fight, telling him to state his business. Draxon laughs, revealing that Archduke Arkane told him to watch over Burge once he arrived. Burge scoffs, calling the Archduke a noisy old vampire geezer. Draxon erupts in anger at the disrespect shown to the Archduke, yelling that Burge has some guts. He tosses a slab of meat at Burge's feet, ordering him to lick it. He says if he does, he will pardon his impudence. Burge asks the Demon King of Beasts if he truly doesn't know why he is here. Draxon foolishly claims that he does, stating it's because Burge mocked the orthodox way of Demon Kings. Burge reminds him that according to that orthodox way, Demon Kings cannot kill each other. Then he asks if Draxon really thinks he'd follow that rule. Unleashing his power, Burge slams his fist into Draxon, sending him flying. Draxon is shocked by the terrifying aura radiating from him. Panicked, he stammers that Archduke Arkane told him to see if Burge had properly kidnapped a princess. He threatens that if he doesn't report within a month, he will lose his authority. Burge cuts him off, saying he was wondering what Draxon was about to say. He confirms that he has already kidnapped a princess. Then he adds that she suits his taste, which confuses Draxon. Back at Burge's tower, Gordon praises him for excellently showing the majesty of a Demon King. Burge says it's nothing special and that for now, he is sure Draxon can't do anything more. Still, he acknowledges that this is troublesome. He thinks if this is the stance of the other Demon Kings, things will get quite bothersome. He realizes the consequences of mocking the orthodox way are bigger than he expected. But he reaffirms that even if given another chance, he would make the same choice. He would rather die than bow his head to trash. Burge vows that he will not repeat the same mistake and will rebuild his foundation from scratch. He expects to only get a few hundred demonic energy points from a low-ranked princess, but knows it is the safest option. He checks his status and is stunned. He has 13,000 points. He has no idea why he has so many. Suddenly, a message arrives, He has received a video recording from the Tower of Beasts. On the screen, Draxon congratulates the new Demon King. He says that though their first meeting was not the best, he should at least give him this much as his senior. Draxon admits he is truly impressed, acknowledging that what Burge achieved in Eren is by no means an easy feat. He wonders if mocking the orthodox way was just a cover. Burge senses that something is wrong. At that moment, Gordon bursts in panicked. He screams that they have a problem and that the fourth floor is in chaos. Burge rushes to the fourth floor. He is shocked by what he sees. The once empty cold space has transformed into a vibrant, beautiful garden, teeming with life. A notification shows that the floor is undergoing naturalization. In the middle of it all stands the princess, creating an entire ecosystem within the magic tower. Burge knows this is a feat only possible for someone who has mastered the four elements. He thinks that there is only one spiritist on the continent who is capable of this. He confronts her, stating he clearly went to the 13th princess's castle. He realizes she is not the 13th princess. She smiles, replying that as expected he mistook her for Alina. Burge is stunned, demanding to know who she is. She states that's right, her name is Ernan Hildurin. She proudly declares that she is the first princess of the Hildurin kingdom. In the Hildurin kingdom, the news breaks. The first princess has been abducted by a demon king. The king roars in fury, demanding to know who dared to kidnap his dearest princess Ernan. He orders the immediate gathering of the strongest heroes and the entire military of the kingdom. He vows they shall behead the foolish demon king and bring back his princess. The princess tells Burge that is why she asked if he could handle her. He admits he had heard of a genius elemental mage who was full of mana. He realizes there is no way he wouldn't have detected it and wonders how she fooled him. She shows him a ring, explaining she can hide her mana with it. It's an heirloom passed down in the royal family. After asking if that answers his question, she wants to know if he will send her back. Burge thinks about it. He knows he will be mocked if he sends the princess back. No kingdom would be scared of a coward, making it harder to collect demonic energy. He decides he has to stick this one through. A system window appears, detecting rage targeted toward the demon king Burge Diaz. His possessed demonic energy points jump to over 19,000. Burge figures they must have singled him out. He tells her that nothing changes, even if she is not the 13th princess. She is still his hostage. Back in the kingdom of Hildurin, the king roars for them to kill the foolish demon king and bring back his princess. An advisor cautiously points out that they don't yet know which demon king is responsible. He explains that they have sent patrols and asks the king to please wait. The king explodes with rage, yelling at them to hurry up and figure it out. He screams that the princess was kidnapped and they are all doing nothing. Another advisor remarks that something is off. The demon king of lust recently kidnapped another nation's prince. This brought the rage of too many upon him, and he was killed by heroes. The advisor finds it strange that another demon king would appear to kidnap their princess despite that example. The king understands. It must be a new one. Suddenly, a guard runs in, announcing they found traces of teleporting magic. The trail is headed north. The destination is assumed to be the Urgest Mountains. The king repeats the name in shock. At Burge Tower, Gordon reports that the army from Hildurin will arrive soon. He asks the Demon King if he thinks they'll be too much to handle. He states with confidence that it's fine. The kingdom of Hildurin will not be able to come here. He explains that the Urgest Mountains are at the very northern edge of the continent. The kingdom of Hildurin is at the very south. It's not possible that all the nations in between will just let their army through. There is no way those nations will open a path for them. They will be forced to employ a hero guild instead. In his throne room, the king decides they have no choice. He orders them to contact the hero guild. At the hero guild, the request is discussed. The princess of Hildurin was kidnapped, and the destination is the Urgest Mountains. The heroes react with immediate refusal. One exclaims that the place is full of hellish monsters. Another asks what crazy new demon king would do that. A hero declares that he didn't join this business just to die. The king of Hildurin is going to suffer. Burge knew the hero guild wouldn't budge. He knows those guys only care about money and won't go somewhere so dangerous. He confirms that's also why he built his base here. Gordon is amazed, realizing Burge considered that too. He notes that his master doesn't stick to the rules, but he seems very knowledgeable about Eren, as if he's been here before. The king of Hildurin slams his fist on his throne, enraged. He shouts, asking how there is no hero who wants to step up for the job. He questions how they can even call themselves heroes. An advisor explains that in Eren, as many heroes as there are, they care more about their profits, which makes them very picky. Because of this, it will take some time until a proper group is formed. It will also take time for them to get here. Burge considers his options in the tower shop, seeing things like skeletons for 10,000 points. He knows that despite everything, he doesn't have enough demonic energy to deal with a whole army of heroes. He also knows that fear all too well. He tells Gordon to contact Draxon. He's going to sell demonic energy in exchange for human money. Gordon is completely flabbergasted, stammering the words demonic energy. He exclaims that this currency of dreams lets them transcend their species' limits, unlock tower features, and bring in monsters. He can't believe Burge wants to exchange it for human money. Burge explains that he is sure Draxon will pay a huge sum for it. He admits he won't be able to stop the heroes with the demonic energy he has. But with human money, there is something he can do. He travels to Holton Work, a fortress city near the Urgest Mountains. At the gate, guards stop him. They call him an insane mercenary for going to the Urgest Mountains alone and look at him with suspicion. He tosses a gold coin at them. Now then, he thinks to himself that he can't look around the city on his own. He will look for a guide first. He enters the Scarlet Hawk Mercenary Guild headquarters. Inside, a captain is told they should leave this place soon. The captain dismisses the idea, saying it's nice here. The soldiers take care of the monsters, and they just take the spoils of battle. He asks what could be better. The conversation turns to the news of a new demon king in the Urgest Mountains. One mercenary calls it fake news. Another says the guy must not know demon kings well. They always set up towers where heroes can easily reach them. They also mock the news of the Hilderan princess being kidnapped. One finds it ridiculous that a demon king would go to the very other end of the continent to get her. They note the Hero Guild even turned down the job after hearing the destination. They all agree it must just be a show, a trick to milk more money from the kingdom. The captain laughs, saying they all know how crazy those guys are when it comes to money. From behind him, a voice agrees. The captain jumps, screaming in terror. He whirls around to see Burge, who asks who he is. Burge observes that the mercenaries seem pretty knowledgeable, making them perfect to be his guides. With a smirk, he tells one to stay and the rest to get out. The mercenaries charge, yelling that he infiltrated the place and isn't getting out alive. Burge moves with lightning speed, easily dispatching them. He throws one mercenary into a group of others, scattering them like bowling pins. One of the survivors calls him a monster. Outside, a man complains that they're fighting again. His friend wonders if they ever get tired. Back inside, Burge stands over the last mercenary. He tells the man not to be scared. He'll spare him if he answers his questions. The mercenary trembles and quickly agrees, begging for his life. Burge asks where the slave market is. His guide leads him through the city. At the market, Burge sees that there are only human slaves. He asks if they have anything more rare. The guide's demeanor instantly changes and he says of course, leading him this way. As he walks, Burge thinks about how the man can act so normally after seeing his subordinates get destroyed. He concludes that humans desiring money and demons desiring demonic energy are basically no different. In a flashback, Gordon asks what Burge plans to do with human money. Burge answers that he can buy slaves, specifically the otherworldly species that humans have captured. An elf known for its integrity would be best. His plan is to use the elf as a spy to create chaos among the heroes. Meanwhile, in Hilderan, hero Helen Cargill has arrived. The king welcomes him, saying he trusted the hero would apply for the job. The hero confirms he will rescue the princess. He promises to bring back the demon king's head. He declares he will do it in the name of justice. Burge's plan is to use the elf as a spy and confuse the heroes. He thinks this should be very effective since their species is known for being innocent. At the slave market, the guide asks what kind of slaves Burge is looking for. Burge points to the caged elf and states that he is here to buy him. He adds that the guide will pay for it. The mercenary is shocked, but Burge levels a threatening glare at him and asks if he objects. The man stammers that of course he does not object, and that it is a given he must pay. Burge says he has to confirm something and asks the two to leave the room. The merchant hesitates, warning that the elf might go berserk. Burge assures him it is fine and that if anything happens, his guide will pay for it. Inside the room, Burge unlocks the elf's chains. He thinks about how this ever-so-noble elf has been reduced to a miserable slave. The elf feels the demonic energy and asks if Burge is a demon. He demands to know what business a demon could possibly have with an elf. Burge states that he wishes to give him a chance to get his revenge on humans. The elf calls it a tempting offer, but says he cannot trust demons as much as he cannot trust humans. Burge insists that he is different. He offers a deal. If the elf stays loyal for exactly 50 years, he will guarantee his safety and freedom. Burge notes that 50 years is not even that long for elves. He says it should be much better than being humiliated by humans like this. The elf refuses. He explains that Burge is a demon, and that his kind is trying to destroy the world tree that elves serve. This would also destroy the world which the world tree sustains. He asks how he is supposed to trust him. Burge knows it is strange for a demon to seek an elf's help. He thinks the elf is hitting him right where it hurts. He decides to do this. He makes a vow on the great demon king's standards. He promises to fulfill his part of the deal and to not lay a hand on the world tree. The elf is shocked, knowing the demon king's standards are to a demon what the world tree is to an elf. In return, Burge wants him to vow on the world tree to pledge allegiance to him for the next 50 years. The elf calls him a strange one. He says if Burge is going that far, he will agree. He introduces himself as Granada of the Maple tribe and says he will make his vow once he sees the demon king who sent him. Burge tells him that he is the demon king. Granada is momentarily shocked before bursting into laughter. He tells Burge not to make him laugh, questioning why a demon king would come here. He explains that demon kings get weaker the further they are from their tower, and finds it ridiculous that one would move directly just to buy a slave. He then challenges him. If Burge really is a demon king, he will pledge his allegiance for 100 years instead. They are instantly transported to the 5th floor of Burge's tower. Burge sits on his throne and reminds him of the 100-year contract, stating those were Granada's words, not his. Granada is stunned, realizing he really is a demon king. He immediately yells that this is a scam. He complains that Burge never said the tower would be so empty, with nothing up to the 3rd floor. He notes the 4th floor only has nature. He demands to know what kind of sloppy tower does not have a single monster. He shouts that at this rate, Burge will not last a year before the heroes tear him apart. He declares he is not working in a place like this. Burge asks if he has forgotten, reminding him they made a contract. He unleashes his raw demonic power, filling the room with pressure. Granada is terrified by the overwhelming energy, certain now that he really is a demon king. He realizes that the tower might be sloppy, but not one monster of the Urgest Mountains attacked them on the way here. He recalls images of disaster-level monsters. He understands they could not risk messing with them, or rather, they could not risk messing with the demon king. He now sees that a demon king is still a demon king, and that perhaps he really will get his revenge. He kneels and vows on the great name of the world tree that from this moment on, his loyalty is Burge's for the next 100 years. He thinks that since the demon king himself came for him, he will surely be assigned an important role. He will get his revenge as a part of that evil plan. Burge looks at him and says, "All right, first prepare me a meal." Granada stares back, utterly confused. While cooking in the kitchen, he wonders why he is here. He was supposed to be a part of a very important plan. Princess Ernan enters and asks if she can help make some vegetable bread. In the 5th floor dining room, Granada asks the demon king about the woman's identity. Burge confirms she is Ernan Hilderin. Granada shoots up, shouting if he is out of his mind for kidnapping the crown princess. He yells that the tower has nothing and demands to know how he plans on stopping the heroes. Burge calmly replies that is why he bought him. He tells him to sit and eat for now. Granada is completely bewildered. Burge says his cooking is pretty good. Ernan smiles and adds that she helped too. Granada does not understand what is happening. Later on the 4th floor, he asks if Burge wants him to fight the heroes here. Burge says no, explaining if the heroes make it this far, the game is already over. It would mean they already came through the Urgest Mountains. He tells Granada he will be disrupting the human world in his place. Granada realizes he is to become a spy. Burge confirms this is true but says he must first check his skills. He tells him to come at him. Granada wonders how he is supposed to beat a demon king in his tower. Burge offers a deal. He will only use one hand and will not use his demonic energy. If Granada wins, he will reduce their contract's duration by 50 years. Granada tells him he better keep his word. He says he will take him on with everything he has got, nearly saying he will blow his head off. The duel begins. Burge notes that even though Granada spent a long time as a slave, his movements are still fine. He wonders if he absorbed mana from the 4th floor or enhanced his physical abilities, calling it a fitting style for an elf. Granada yells that an average elf cannot do this. He tells Burge to blame himself for picking the wrong opponent in the wrong place. Roots erupt from the ground, wrapping around Burge's leg. Granada sees his opening and declares that Burge is wide open. He lunges, intent on taking his 50 years back. He is sure this attack will land, but freezes as he remembers just who his opponent is. Burge reminds him not to worry. He states that he is not trying to use demonic energy. He promises to control his strength so he does not kill him. Granada hesitates, asking him to wait. Burge's fist connects, ending the fight instantly. Back at the Red Hawk mercenaries' headquarters, the leader exclaims it is an honor to see Burge again. Burge tells him he would like to hire them for a year. The captain quickly agrees and asks about the budget, while another mercenary grumbles about him sucking up to the person who beat them senseless. Burge throws a large bag of gold onto the table as a deposit. The mercenaries immediately declare they will follow him for the rest of their lives. Burge then tells the captain to have this man join his team. He explains that Granada will relay his orders from now on. The men hesitate to accept a stranger. A bruised Granada steps forward and introduces himself. The mercenaries see his battered face and immediately feel a sense of kinship, embracing him. Burge thinks to himself that although they look mediocre, they are seasoned mercenaries who operate in Urgest. He knows he cannot find others like them anywhere else, and they are easy to handle. He is also aware that the only hero that would answer Hildren's call right now is Helen Cargill, the hero who defeated the Demon King of Lust. He addresses the Red Hawk mercenaries. He gives them their first mission: investigate Helen Cargill, the hero employed by Hilderin. They all salute and reply, "Yes, sir." In Burge's tower, he considers his next move. Now that he has left the hero matter to Granada, it is his turn to get stronger. Demonic energy points can be used to enhance the tower or the Demon King himself. For Burge, who had sold all his points, the only way to become stronger would be something else. The Spirit Blossom. It is a crystal of mana that sprouts after absorbing the mana of nature. Once it is consumed, it will grant an immense boost in strength. Here in the Urgest Mountains, with the harsh mana storms and powerful monsters, nature is nearly untouched by humanity. As a result, spirit blossoms have spent long years naturally absorbing the mana of nature. Their energy has become even more refined. Truly, it is a treasure trove of spirit blossoms. Burge thinks that for demons, it is not as effective as demonic energy, but it is better than nothing. He tells Gordon he is going to find some spirit blossoms. Gordon warns that it is risky to go without prior preparations. He says it is akin to finding a needle in the desert. Gordon, Burge's aide, adds that monsters are no different from beasts. They will surely attack once they see an opening. Burge knows he can deal with the monsters easily. But finding the spirit blossoms will be difficult, just as Gordon said. He acknowledges this unless he had an excellent mana detector. A knock on the door interrupts them. Ernan peeks into the room and asks if they are busy. Both Burge and Gordon are surprised. Outside, Ernan runs around excitedly with her spirits. She tells Burge she is so excited. She admits to being more than just a little bored lately. She reminds him he has to keep his promise to let her decorate the 4th floor as she wants. Burge thinks about how she has already decorated to her taste. He wonders how far she will take it, and believes the very idea of decorating a Demon King's tower is already crazy. Ernan did not think she would be able to leave the tower and is happy she came by to check. Suddenly, Burge sweeps her into his arms, telling her to hold on tight. He takes flight, startling her. She protests, saying she is not ready. As they soar through the sky, she looks at the world in awe. She realizes she had not noticed because it was dark on the day she was kidnapped. The world is just so vast. She reflects on her past, where every day just repeated itself. Magic training, studying rulership, then repeating. She thought she was going to do that until the day she died. She tells the Demon King that she is probably the only person who has ever flown over the Urgest Mountains. Burge simply says he does not care. He starts to address the princess, but she interrupts him. She insists that he call her Ernan. She reasons that they are going to be seeing each other for some time, so that will be for the better. Burge thinks he may have let her take things her way a little too much. He warns her that it seems she keeps forgetting her place and threatens to move her to the underground prison. She apologizes and says okay. He orders her to use her spirits to find the spirit blossoms. Burge thinks they probably will not find it very quickly, but he is sure they will be faster than him or Gordon. Suddenly, Ernan shouts that she found it. They land and see that some guests have arrived before them. A large spirit blossom is surrounded by hairy, horned monsters. Burge tells them that monsters are descendants of demons who have left the demon realm. He orders them, if they still have the honor of demons left in them, to obey the Demon King's command. They must not touch the spirit blossom and must leave this place. The monsters refuse. They say they do not listen to a demon's words. One growls that they do not like him and that he will die. Burge laughs, admitting that Gordon was right. He thinks how foolish he was for expecting beasts to think. He decides he shall simply burn them all to ashes. The monsters roar to kill him and protect what is theirs, shouting to kill and eat. Burge unleashes his dark magic, engulfing them in purple flames. One monster cries out to get the weak one first, but his magic incinerates them before they can even get close. Ernan watches amazed. She knows Pule orcs are known to take down even ogres if they work together, but they cannot even get near them. She thinks that this is the power of the Demon King. After the battle, Ernan holds the hyacinth. a water and ice attribute spirit blossom. She marvels at how pure and mono it is. Burge tells her not to covet it. She replies with a simple okay. He then adds that if they find more, she can have one. She gasps and asks if he is serious, her eyes sparkling. Burge thinks to himself that humans can only cheer up when they are given carrots. He tells her he will try his best. Sadly, they never found a second patch of blossoms, even though Ernan tried until she was exhausted. Back at Burge's tower, he considers the crown princess of Hilderin. At first, he thought taking her was a mistake, but now he thinks she might be more useful than he had initially thought. Gordon enters, reporting that he just received a contact from Granada. He says it was quick. The hero, Hilan Kargil, along with 32 other heroes, have departed from the capital of Hilderin. However, they are not heading toward Urgist. They are going to take the classic path of a hero, which is to form a party and grow by completing villagers' quests. They will then get stronger through their journey. Gordon says he has prepared a few plans for the hero's journey and asks the Demon King to read them slowly. Burge dismisses them all, shocking his aide. He declares that this time, they will not be sending any monsters or interruptions to the hero's journey. Gordon is confused. Burge explains that half-baked interruptions only make the heroes stronger. He tells him to relay a message to Granada. He is to join the hero's journey with the mercenaries, help them, and build their trust. Gordon remarks that his master is not following the standard this time either. He worries, asking how they can stop the heroes with their current tower. Burge tells him not to worry. He will make sure to reinforce their tower with a dwarf. Gordon shouts, asking if he now wants a dwarf in here along with the human and high elf. He argues that if anyone saw that diminutive species in their tower, they would become a laughing stock. Burge is not saying they will stop the heroes simply with a dwarf. To be more precise, they need dwarven magical tools. He tells Gordon to think about that for a second. As the heroes have become used to the Demon King's standards, they will open the door to the first floor expecting some weak monsters. But what if dozens of cannons welcome them instead? Gordon realizes the heroes would never be prepared for that. He still thinks this is too far from the standards. Then, in a sudden realization, he screams about another abduction. In Wolfner, the dwarven underground city, the best dwarven blacksmith, Loger Friedrich, is hard at work. He is now scheduled to be kidnapped by a rogue demon king. Burge arrives in Wolfner, the city of dwarves. He thinks to himself that before regressing, he fought countless dwarves, but this is his first time visiting their city. He enters the Midnight Inn. He tosses a coin on the bar and states he is there to commission a weapon but does not know where to go. He asks where he can find the most outstanding blacksmith in the city. The dwarf notes that for a human, he knows how to talk business. Burge says he heard dwarves love money as much as heroes do. The dwarf confirms he is not wrong. He tells Burge to head to the inside of the city where he will see a huge hole. He explains that if Burge hops on the lift, they will check his id and put him on his desired floor. It is a two-step security method that identifies intruders. Following the instructions, Burge walks through the dwarven city. He heads to the lowest floor in the deepest room. He finds the city's best blacksmith, Loger Friedrich, hard at work. He observes his display of metallurgy, seeing how the mana seems to dance. Burge wonders if this is truly the best blacksmith. He thinks about how he could just quietly abduct him. Suddenly, the blacksmith senses the small bit of demonic energy. He attacks with a fiery hammer strike. The explosive attack sends Burge reeling back. Burge is shocked that the dwarf sensed him. He wonders if this dwarf could be a hero. The blacksmith confirms it. He declares he is the hero Loger Friedrich, the blacksmith who contains the power of heroes. Loger is shocked and demands to know how a demon dared to enter the land of the dwarves. He vows that the demon will not leave this city alive. Burge smirks, commenting that for all that talk, Loger is pretty weak. He adds that he is also not a demon, he is a demon king. As Burge reveals his demonic wings, Loger freezes in terror, dropping his hammer. Suddenly, dwarven guards burst into the room. They ask Loger to please excuse their intrusion, wanting to know what the noise was. They find the room empty, realizing with a shock that Loger is gone. The alarm sounds as the guards announce there is an intruder. They shout that the intruder has abducted Loger and order all exits to be blocked. They begin to search the facility thoroughly, believing the culprit could not have gotten far. Meanwhile, Burge holds a captured Loger in a chokehold. He threatens to kill him in an instant if he makes a sound. Loger asks why a demon king is here, wondering if he is here for their princess. Burge denies any interest in the princess. He states that he heard dwarven blacksmiths dig their own underground passages in case of emergency. Loger is internally convinced the demon king must be here for the princess, despite his lies. He recalls that he has been living a quiet life until now precisely because he is too scared to fight demon kings. He panics, wondering why this had to happen to him. The system notes his title, Dwarven Hero Loger, trait weak. Burge sees that Lodger will not talk so easily and offers him a different proposition. He says he will kidnap the princess and let him go. He then asks how the other dwarves will see him if a rumor spreads about the selfish hero who sold the princess to beg for his life. Lodger curses the vile and evil creature. He panics, realizing that everyone already knows he is really weak. If a rumor like that were to spread, they would definitely believe it. He thinks he will be tortured for the rest of his life. Burge gives him the choice: sell out the princess or come with him on his own 2 feet. Lodger internally knows he would sell the princess out but does not want to be tortured. Burge then promises to guarantee his safety if he helps. He vows on the Demon King's standards. Lodger's eyes widen in shock. He knows the Demon King's standards are practically the faith all Demon Kings worship. There is no way Burge would break a vow made to it. Lodger makes his decision. With a determined expression, he agrees to lead the Demon King to the underground passage. His sudden change in demeanor makes Burge think he is sick. In Lodger's workshop, dwarven guards have confirmed that he is absent. A princess with red hair named Lioiswerft arrives, demanding to know where Lodger went while making her weapon. A guard explains they believe he has been kidnapped. She angrily shouts at them to shut their mouths, reminding them he is a hero too. She questions how it makes sense for a hero to be kidnapped. The guard clarifies that while he may be a hero, he is also a blacksmith and not so good at fighting. She orders them to shut up and go find that damn kidnapper now. The guards quickly obey. She threatens that if they do not find him, she will pull all of their heads out. In Lodger's secret passage, Burge complains about the narrow path. He asks how long he is supposed to watch Lodger's disgusting buttocks. Lodger says it cannot be helped as the passage is too narrow. He tells him they are almost there, so he should hold on. Burge just tells him to move quickly. They finally exit the passage. Lodger says this is where his role ends and that the Demon King is on his own now. He declares he is out. Burge looks down at him and asks what nonsense he is saying. He reveals his demonic form. Lodger cries out that he made a vow on the Demon King's standards to guarantee his safety. Burge asks if he means that garbage. He tells Lodger he does not give a damn about it. Lodger is stunned, wondering what kind of Demon King this is. Burge contemplates what he should do with him. Lodger trembles with fear, regretting he did not just sell the princess out. He declares that he is quite useful and that no one can match him in metallurgy. He offers to craft any weapon Burge wishes. Burge asks if he, a hero, is willing to work for him, a Demon King. Lodger sees no reason to be suspicious, telling him to use him to his convenience. He even offers to be his spy if he wants, as surviving is his first priority. Burge tells him if he is willing to swear his allegiance, he will have his mercy. Lodger bows deeply, thanking him profusely and hailing the great Demon King. Internally, he calls him a dumb demon, thinking he will betray him the first chance he gets. He believes that the moment he gets out, Burge is done for. On the 4th floor of Burge's tower, Lodger wakes up in the middle of the garden. Gordon is shocked, shouting that the Demon King actually brought a hero dwarf. Burge silences him. Granada tries to give a report, but Burge tells him to do it later. Ernan approaches the dwarf, asking if he came to save her. She then figures probably not. Lodger demands to know why he is there, saying Burge told him he would have his mercy. Burge confirms he does, asking if he is not getting to live. Lodger is confused, wondering how he ended up there since Burge promised to let him go. Burge coldly states he never said that. He explains that he knocked him out and carried him here, since it is the natural course of action when he does not know what Lodger might do. Lodger begins to laugh maniacally. His laughter fills the garden hollow and desperate. He laughs and laughs, completely broken. Burge asks him if he is that happy to be his subordinate. Through tears and laughter, Lodger chokes out that he is very happy. Burge says that is a great mindset. He then gives him his mission. He orders him to install a large number of cannons on the 1st floor to destroy the heroes. The scene opens at the Ergist Heroes Journey Preparation Station. Granada is on a holographic call, delivering a report to Burge. He explains a rumor is going around the hero's journey right now. Apparently the new Demon King can use black flames. As a result, the heroes are utilizing fire-resistant equipment. He continues, saying another rumor is circulating that the new Demon King is not sending out demonic beasts because he is scared. Burge watches the report, noting that the heroes have not lost their killing intent yet. He says that whether they seek honor from battle or wealth, they will not be able to obtain anything from the hero's journey. In the end, they will lose interest and the heroes will not be able to grow. It is a battle against time. Burge orders Granada to keep monitoring them and to report that there are no problems. Granada replies that he understands and cuts the transmission. After the call ends, he reflects on the situation. He thinks about how the Demon King is weakening the heroes by not sending out demonic monsters. He muses that this Demon King is very knowledgeable when it comes to human nature. He wonders if there has ever been a Demon King like him. He is glad that he is not his enemy. In Burge's tower, he gives Loger instructions. He tells him there is one restriction: he cannot use mana stones. He does not care how he remodels the first floor as long as he abides by that one restriction. Loger is shocked, saying that a trap without a mana stone will not work on the heroes. He says it is his job to figure it out. Burge explains that heroes receive love from this dimension. Their ability to sense energy is outstanding. If Loger creates traps using mana stones, they will figure it out before the traps can activate. Loger is still doubtful. Burge then tells him that he is sure he brought the best blacksmith with him. If he has made a mistake, then he has no choice but to bring someone else there. Panicked, Loger quickly says that on second thought there is a way. Burge, with a cold expression, remarks that he should have said so earlier. Loger then asks what that is. He explains he invented a magical tool that can hide the traces of mana before. It takes 3 years to create, but he has one in his workshop right now. Burge glares at him, asking if that is the only excuse he could think of to escape. Loger insists that he is being serious. Burge says fine, he will trust him, but he snaps his fingers and a magical collar appears around Loger's neck. Loger asks what he put around his neck. Burge explains it is a magical tool that can separate his head from his body and that he can activate it with one hand. A small sphere of magic appears in Burge's hand. He says it is a magical tool that makes it so people cannot see his face. If Loger takes it off, he will consider that as him escaping. Trembling, Loger swears he will never take it off. Burge then tells him to go. Burge and Loger then went to several kingdoms to gather supplies and mana-type materials. It took roughly a month to gather the needed materials and store them inside his subspace pocket. After that, they returned to Wolfner. A month and a half has passed and Princess Lewis is enraged. She slams a heavy object to the ground, yelling at her guards. She demands to know how they still have not found him yet. She calls them incompetent and asks how much longer she needs to remain patient. One guard reports that the blacksmiths have dug out too many tunnels. They are investigating each one, but it is highly likely that they have already left. The princess shouts that of course they have. They would be stupid to still be here since he has been kidnapped. She gives them 2 more weeks to find the kidnapper. If they do not, they are going to die. The guard promises he will find them. She orders him to fill all the tunnels the blacksmiths created. He and the other guards scramble to follow her orders. The princess stands over an unfinished golden weapon, lamenting that it should have been hers. It was made by Loger before he was kidnapped. She pleads for Loger to be alive, declaring that he cannot die until he has completed her weapon. She touches the weapon with a pained expression. A wall opens in front of them, and Princess Liyue stands on the other side. She sees one of his secret tunnels. She knows that only he knows about it. She looks at the masked figure and asks if that means he is Loger. Loger is stunned into silence. He mumbles a faint reply. Liyue grins with fury. She asks him what and tells the bastard that he came back all right. She thinks he went into hiding because he did not want to make her weapon and questions if that is it. Loger is horrified, crying that it is a misunderstanding. The princess scoffs, asking if he thinks she misunderstood anything at all. She roars, demanding how dare he insult her, the princess. She declares that from now on, he is her slave and will make her weapons for the rest of his life. She cracks her knuckles and yells that before that, she is going to punish him for running away. She winds up to punch him, but Burge intercepts. He sends her flying back, but she lands on her feet. He calmly asks who she is. He tells Loger to get the equipment he needs. Liyue stares at the masked intruder. She demands to know who the hell he is. She asks why he is helping that despicable dwarf. Burge replies that he is the master of the pitiful blacksmith she was extorting. Liyue calls it nonsense. She screams that he is her slave and he is going to make her weapons forever. She attacks, but Burge effortlessly dodges. He tells her that she seems to be confusing him for someone else. The princess and Burge engage in a fierce battle. Burge recognizes her as Liyue Werft, the Dwarven Kingdom's second princess. Although she is not a hero, she is exceptionally strong. He thinks back to the past before he regressed. She was one of the strongest he had faced, way stronger than she is now. He knows he could kill her before she gets to grow. But then he would have to use all of his strength and demonic energy. He is also not as strong as he was before he regressed. He worries that he might get captured by her soldiers. Since he has used his power, she now knows he is a demon king. He thinks about how annoying this situation is. Burge looks over at Loger, who is dismantling a large mana phantom device. He yells and asks if he has got everything. Loger stammers that he is currently dismantling it. Burge gives him 1 minute to finish it or else. Loger promises he will go as fast as he can. The princess attacks, yelling at them, and warns Burge he will not leave this place alive. She threatens Loger, saying she will break his legs so he can never escape. Burge laughs, saying she sounds just like a demon king. He tells her to give it up. He is taking her blacksmith and this equipment. At that moment, Loger yells that he has dismantled it. Luois charges, shouting at him for coming back just to take that. She tells him he must think she is that easy. Burge sees an opening. He moves with blinding speed, knocking her down. He calls to Loger, telling him to use the subspace pocket and get out of the way. Luois's gauntlet-clad fist slams into the ground, and she glares up at Burge, shouting that the attack is useless against her. Her soldiers arrive but find she is alone. One asks what is going on. She berates them, calling them slowpokes and asking if they are going to get here after she is dead. She orders them to chase Loger through the tunnel, but the tunnel has been collapsed. She grinds her teeth, wondering if he really did not want to make her weapon that badly. Then she smiles. She thinks about how very interesting this is. She says fine and vows to personally search for him, even if she has to scour the entire continent. She glares, declaring that she will definitely make him regret what he did today. She growls out his name, Loger. On the first floor of Burge Tower stands a massive, newly installed magical device. Gordon is cleaning and asks what on earth it is. Princess Ernan gazes up at the machine in awe, commenting on its huge size. Burge explains that it is a magical tool necessary to stop the heroes. Loger reports to the Demon King that the installation of Mana's Phantom is complete. Burge remarks that the work was fast and orders him to activate it. He thinks to himself that after all the trouble they went through to bring it there, it had better be worth it. Loger nervously agrees and begins the activation sequence. A massive surge of bright blue energy erupts from Mana's Phantom, bathing the entire floor in light. Ernan shields her eyes, exclaiming that it is so bright. A system window appears before Burge. It states that the tower recognizes Mana's Phantom, and that synchronization with the tower will require 10,000 points. Burge is surprised, wondering if the tower had a function like that. He decides to confirm it himself. He selects yes on the prompt. Another window shows his points have been consumed, dropping from over 11,000 down to just over 1,000. The system updates again, announcing that Mana's Phantom now recognizes Demon King Burge Deas as its master. The power source of the device has been completely converted from mana to demonic energy. Burge turns his gaze to Loger. Loger frantically denies that he did it, saying he never imagined merging the device with a tower was possible. He questions how the power source could change from mana to demonic energy. He excitedly declares this is the discovery of the century, and that even its creator would not know about this. Ernan then asks the princess if she can try using any spell. Burge agrees, telling her to use whatever she wants. She is thrilled and exclaims that whatever she wants it is. She begins to manifest a massive ball of destructive magic. Loger panics, shouting that he just cleaned the tower and pleading for her to stop. Burge halts her spell before she can unleash it. He thinks that normally, using a spell of that caliber inside the tower should be detectable even to the outside. He walks to the massive front doors. He realizes he cannot see anything inside. In fact, he cannot feel a single presence. He questions if this is the power of a tower synchronized with Mana's Phantom. He wonders what would happen if he manipulates the tower in this state. He extends his hand, cloaking it in demonic energy. From an outside view in the snowy mountains, the entire tower completely vanishes. Then with another pulse of power it reappears. Burge realizes he can hide the tower as he wishes. A notification shows his demonic energy points have dropped significantly. He notes that it consumes a lot of points. He smirks, thinking that using it right now is difficult, but it will be useful going forward. Loger, however, is on the verge of a breakdown. He begs the Demon King for just a tiny bit of time to examine the device. He catches himself before saying he wants to tear it and the tower apart. He pleads to examine this historic discovery, insisting he has never heard of or seen anything like it. Burge looks at him, thinking that he sounds like a demon itching for a fight. He tells Loger that if his trap wipes out the heroes on the first floor, he will let him do whatever he wants. Loger is ecstatic and vows that he will definitely sweep those crafty heroes away. Burge then tells the princess he has a proposal for her as well. He wants her to face the heroes who come up to the fourth floor. She is surprised by this, questioning why since she is a princess. Burge reminds her that she is also a genius spiritist who does not want to return to her own royal palace. He inwardly considers that assigning her a role like this might be unreasonable. He knows she is an innocent princess who does not know how the world works, so betraying her own kind might be too much. Ernan wonders aloud what she would even fight with, considering fire or water. She then decides against it. Burge clarifies that she only needs to fluster the heroes and reveal to them that she is an enemy. He adds that if it goes well, he will grant her what she wants again. She looks for an opening, asking if she should use her looks to seduce them since she is confident in that. Burge flatly says no, ordering her to just do what he told her. She then states that she has a condition. She wants him to introduce her as the Demon King's subordinate, not as a princess. Burge finds that much is easy to do and agrees. She seems pleased with his answer. Later, Burge sits on his throne and goes over the preparations. They will reduce the number of heroes with mass mana cannons on the first floor. On the fourth floor, they will finish them off using the princess as bait. He knows it is still far from enough. He thinks that as things are, he cannot even cut down half the heroes, who number over 200. He realizes that in the end, he just has to become stronger himself. He looks at the hyacinth, the elemental spirit blossom in his hand. A status window reveals it is now contaminated by demonic energy, making it especially effective against demons. He knows he will have to gather more. He tells the princess that they are heading out and she cheers. Outside, they search the snowy landscape but find nothing. Ernan says there is none here either. Burge thinks it is strange. He tells her this is already their third try and maybe they just got lucky last time, while dismissing her spirits as useless. Suddenly, a massive group of Pule orcs emerges from the snow. Burge recognizes them and sighs, saying he has gotten sick of them. The chieftain of the Blue Frost tribe, Krudu, bows deeply. He greets the Demon King. The rest of the tribe falls to their knees behind him. Kradu asks that he please accept their tribe as his kin. He explains that their ancestors are demons who betrayed the demon realm, and since they bear that original sin, they ask for the honor of serving him. Burge tells him to save the sweet talk. He says that in the end, they just want to become stronger by becoming a demon king's kin. He notes they are better suited for demonic energy than spirit blossoms. Kradu sees that the demon king has seen through everything and there is no point in hesitating. He orders his tribe to bring it. They present Burge with a collection of spirit blossoms. Burge realizes that is why he could not find these. He looks at Krudu, nodding his fluent speech, his preparation, and that he even knows how to negotiate. He finds him to be unusually intelligent for Pule orcs. Kradu explains that to survive in this harsh land, his tribe valued wisdom more than strength. Burge asks if they came looking for him to become stronger because they lack strength. Kradu confirms wisdom over strength. Burge smiles, saying that he likes him. He says very well, but he will only take in Krudu. A demonic symbol burns onto Krudu's body. Burge orders him to roam the snowfields and grow his tribe for his sake. He tells him to wait for his orders, and he will reward him with something greater than strength. He promises his tribe shall be eternal. A system window confirms that Krudu, race Pule Orc, is now the Demon King's kin. Kradu thanks him profusely and vows his loyalty. His tribe joins him, vowing to devote their loyalty to the Demon King. Outside Burge Tower, a full-force Pule Orc legion now stands guard in the Urgist Mountains. Back inside, Burge reviews his preparations. The first floor has Loger and 60 mana cannons. The fourth floor has Ern and Hilderin. Now all the pieces are in place. He looks ahead with determination. He says, "Come, heroes," and vows that he will repay them for humiliating him in his previous life. At the base of the Urgist Mountains, the hero party arrives. Hillen Cargill tells Granada that they have finally arrived. Granada agrees. Hillen looks up at the towering peaks, confirming that the Urgist Mountains are in sight. A banquet is held at the Holton Walk Heroes Journey Preparation Station. The Fortress Master speaks to the hero, Hillen. The Fortress Master says Hillen flatters him. Hillen thanks the Fortress Master for the wonderful banquet. The Fortress Master is glad and says he can remain with him on a page of history. Hillen thanks him for saying that. At a nearby table, one person suggests Hillen should give a speech, but another disagrees. He insists, nodding that everyone is waiting and it will help raise their morale. He decides to do it and the Fortress Master stands up. The Fortress Master calls for everyone's attention, announcing that Hillen would like a few words. Hillen clears his throat before the crowd. He addresses his fellow comrades. He speaks to the assembled heroes, nobles, knights, wizards, mercenaries, and merchants. He declares the long-awaited hero's journey has finally reached its final stretch. He suggests the Demon King might be spooked by the march of the heroes who answered the call of justice. He says this could be why the Demon King has not sent a single monster over. The hall fills with laughter at the idea. Hillen warns that they will not let their guard down. He confirms that they have finally completed preparing after all this time. He raises his glass and proclaims that tomorrow is the day. They will make the foolish Demon King pay for daring to kidnap the kingdom of Hilderin's Princess Ernan. He roars, "Who are we?" The entire hall shouts back for justice. Hillen asks who is the master of this world. He yells that they will remind them of these facts once again. The crowd responds with another booming chant for justice. From the back of the room, Granada observes the celebration. He thinks that just as the Demon King expected, the heroes did not increase in number, but they also did not decrease. He realizes Hillen's popularity has brought the hero's journey this far. Hillen had secured support from the merchant group and soothed the nerves of mercenaries who tried to desert, dragging them along to this point. Granada recalls that the last time he saw the tower, it was completely empty. He worries, wondering if it will fall at this rate. He briefly considers if he should smack the heroes in the back of their heads right now. He shakes his head, telling himself no. He questions what he is thinking, realizing that if the subjugation succeeds, he will be freed. That is good for him, he tells himself to get a grip. He decides to get some air and report to the Demon King. Outside, he reports to Burge that they have arrived at Holton. He explains that after a short resupply, they will climb the mountains tomorrow. Burge replies that he sees. He gives an order: once Granada leaves Holton, he is not to make contact anymore. Burge lists things to look out for. He must watch the snow when climbing the mountains. He must not let his guard down at night. And lastly, he must stand far from the tower when they open it. The connection ends abruptly, leaving Granada confused. He wonders what that was about. Suddenly, Hillen appears behind him, asking what he is doing there by himself. Startled, Granada quickly says it is nothing and that he is just getting some fresh air. Hillen offers him a drink of fruit wine, an elven favorite. Granada thanks him and accepts the glass. Hillen observes him, nodding. He looks like he has something on his mind. He asks if Granada is nervous too and then asks if they can actually subdue the Demon King. Granada confirms he is. Hillen looks at his reflection in his glass, admitting that, to be honest, he does not really know either. Granada is shocked. Hillen continues, saying that even though people trust and follow him, subjugating a Demon King's tower is always hellish. It has not once ever gone smoothly. Granada argues that Hillen killed the Demon King of Lust and absorbed his power. Compared to him, a new Demon King should be a piece of cake. He then realizes nobody knows how Hillen accomplished this. He asks Hillen to tell him the heroic tale. Hillen simply says it was only possible because he had brave comrades, like Granada, who are always at the front taking care of the monsters. He tells Granada he will lead the way and asks him to protect his flank. He is sure they will win if they combine their strength. Granada smiles and agrees that he will do just that. Hillen puts an arm around Granada's shoulders and tells him to go back inside. He says the fortress master wants to hear his adventure stories. As they walk away, Hillen thinks to himself that he joined forces with brave comrades. His friendly expression fades as he thinks, "Please take care of me again this time, Granada the elf." The next morning, the March of the Heroes begins, and the city's residents cheer them on. They chant for Granada, Wharton, and loudest of all, for Hillen Cargill. The heroes travel into the Urgest Mountains Gorge. One hero remarks that he was worried, but the mountains are nothing special since it is not snowing much and the weather is clear. Another agrees they will reach the tower without any trouble, and that the goddess of victory is on their side. A mercenary jokes that the disaster-class monsters must be hibernating or are scared of Hillen. Suddenly, a hero feels something strange on his arm. He looks down and sees it is covered in purple slime. He turns and screams. A massive ghoul looms behind him. The heroes panic as more ghouls appear on the cliffs, all of them enormous. Hillen is calm, observing that they have finally shown themselves. He orders all units into battle formation. He tells them not to panic and to protect their comrades around them. He notes the gorge is not long and orders the knights to cover the mages and pull back. At that moment, a knight shouts a warning. A frost giant has appeared at the front. Hillen is shocked. He yells for everyone to fall back. He tells Wharton that he will deal with the frost giant while the rest get out of the gorge. Wharton is aghast, asking if he will deal with it alone. Hillen says it will not be a problem. He leaps to confront the giant, thinking that it cannot possibly be stronger than the Demon King of Lust. He dodges the giant's strikes and shatters its icy fists. He spots an opening and unleashes a furious assault on the monster. Then he yells, "Now everybody run!" The heroes scramble past the fight, shouting for cover. One yells that the path is blocked and that they need to hurry. They manage to escape the gorge, and the survivors collapse in the snow, panting heavily. One complains that dozens of ghouls and a giant taller than the cliffs make this an insane place, not meant for humans. Another agrees that even the Demon King's tower was not like this. However, a third points out their casualties are relatively low, all thanks to Hillen. They talk about the rumor that he killed the Demon King of Lust and absorbed his power. One wonders if he could be comparable to a Demon King. Another suggests that since he already killed one, he might be even stronger. They decide they have nothing to worry about if they just trust Hillen. Granada listens to their talk and thinks that seriously, if it is Hillen, he might actually defeat that Demon King. Their rest is cut short when Pule orcs appear before them. A hero says there is no time to rest. Granada feels demonic energy, identifying them as the Demon King's subordinates. The orc chieftain welcomes the foolish heroes to Urgest. Granada declares they are easy opponents and says he will take care of them. But Hillen tells him to wait, noticing a sound. In his mind, he recalls Burge's cryptic warning, "Watch the snow." He looks up the mountain, a look of horror spreading across his face as he understands. The orc chieftain sneers. He states that not a single one of them will reach the tower. The ground rumbles as an avalanche crashes down upon them. Granada screams, questioning how the hell he was supposed to watch out for this. He curses the crazy bastard Demon King. He yells for all of them to run. Back in his tower, Burge watches the monitors go static as the heroes are wiped out. He welcomes the heroes once again. He looks on with a dark smile. This time, he says, I will hunt you all down. Burge sits on his throne, reflecting on the warnings he gave to Granada. He recalls the first warning, the snow. In the Urgus Mountains, the surviving heroes struggle through a blizzard after an avalanche triggered by the Pule orcs. One hero reports they cannot account for everyone, exclaiming that many were swept far away. Hillen orders the group to make camp and search for the scattered heroes. Burge then recalls his second warning, to never let his guard down at night. That night, the heroes' camp is ambushed. A hero screams that there are frost giants and ghouls, realizing the Pule orcs are driving the monsters toward them. Hillen orders all personnel to prepare for battle, while another hero curses the Pule orcs' return. Granada grits his teeth in frustration, cursing the Demon King. He thinks about the merciless pattern, an avalanche by day, a herd of monsters by night. Heroes scream as they are overwhelmed in the chaos, crying out to run and take cover. Burge watches the events unfold on his monitor, knowing that before long they will inevitably break. A counter on his screen updates, showing that 3 days after entering the mountains, the hero headcount has dropped from 511 to 256. The battered party of heroes reaches the tallest mountain summit, exhausted. One asks why the Demon King's tower is not there. Another questions it, saying it is common sense for a tower to be in a place that is easy for heroes to spot. He yells in frustration, demanding to know why it is not here. A faction of the heroes splits off from the main group. Their leader, Wharton, tells Hillen that they are going to give up. Hillen questions his decision. Wharton declares that this hero's journey is a failure. He apologizes but states that their lives matter more. The dissenting heroes turn and leave. 6 days after entering the mountains, the remaining party finally discovers the Demon King's tower hidden in a basin. One hero curses the bastard for hiding it. The headcount has now fallen from 256 to just 52. The heroes at the tower's entrance are enraged. One shouts to wipe them all out, and another agrees, yelling that there are only weaklings on the first floor anyway. On his throne, Burge recalls his third and final warning. When they open the tower, stand far from it. Inside, the heroes charge forward, but one of them stops in confusion, asking what is happening. Mana cannons materialize from the floor, surrounding them. Burge reveals his plan, explaining that they will be dealt with in one shot by the dwarf's mana cannons. A massive volley of blue energy blasts through the first floor. After the light fades, the headcount reads only one survivor. Burge looks at his screen with mild surprise, realizing even that was not enough to bring Hillen Cargill down. On the devastated first floor, amidst the rubble, Hillen struggles to stand, coughing heavily. He demands to know what the hell this is, yelling that nothing about this Demon King or what has happened is usual. Granada emerges from the smoke, calling out to Sir Hillen. Hillen asks if he is okay, and Granada confirms he barely avoided the attack. Relieved, Hillen tells him they will go up to the next floor. Granada is shocked, asking if they will go with just the two of them. Hillen reminds him that he is the hero who killed the Demon King of Lust and absorbed his power. He declares a new Demon King is no match for him and that Granada is more than enough backup. Granada reluctantly agrees and the two advance together. They ascend to the second floor only to find it completely empty. The third floor is empty as well. Hillen grows frustrated, nodding the place should be overflowing with monsters, yet no one is there. Granada thinks something is wrong with this tower and realizes that if these floors are empty, then she must be somewhere else. He cautions that anything can jump out at this point. They reach the fourth floor and stop in their tracks, completely stunned. Before them is a vibrant green forest. Hillen stares in disbelief, asking what the hell this is. Granada observes that there was nothing on the second and third floors, but there is a forest on the fourth. He mutters curses, questioning if they are really inside a Demon King's tower because it sure does not feel like it. A voice greets them, saying she sees they somehow managed to make it up there. It is Princess Ernan, dressed in a dark outfit with a mask covering her eyes. She introduces herself as one of the 4 heavenly kings who protects the Demon King. She declares that she, the Dark Spiritist, will be their opponent. Granada can only stare, wondering what in the world that is. Hillen retreats quietly for a moment. He softly says her name, Princess Ernan. He asks her why she looks like that. She retorts that she is not a princess but the Dark Spiritist. She yells, "Now then, witness the power of darkness," as she unleashes a massive multi-elemental spell. Hillen recognizes it as the highest-strength spirit magic that only Princess Ernan can use. He also knows it cannot be used if she is being controlled. He thinks back on the recent events. The Pule orcs, the avalanches, the ambushes, the hidden tower, the cannons, the empty floors, and now a crazy princess. He lets out a hollow laugh, saying he does not get it. He rages, demanding to know what is happening and why the princess is attacking the hero who came to save her. He decides that if this is how it is, then he will just destroy everything. A voice asks if he thinks he can do it. Suddenly, Burge appears behind Hillen and attacks him with a blast of dark energy. The impact shakes the garden, fracturing the ground beneath their feet. Burge steps forward, his eyes locking onto the hero. He says that at last he can see his face, Hillen Kargil. Hillen glares at him, stating the Demon King has finally shown himself. He accuses Burge of sneaking up on him like a coward. Burge remains silent, his expression cold and merciless. Hillen decides he needs more strength. He looks over at Granada and shouts for him to let them combine their strength. Granada is confused, asking how they can do that. Suddenly, the elf freezes as he feels his energy being violently drained from his body. Hillen calmly tells him not to worry. He assures Granada that as long as he is by his side, there is no problem. Granada collapses to the ground, his strength completely gone. Burge watches the scene, his eyes narrowing as he recognizes the artifact on Hillen's finger. Hillen explains it is a forbidden artifact called the Elf Eater. He states that it converts an elf's infinite vitality directly into mana. He mentions its flaw is that the elf dies before long once it is activated. He presses his foot against Granada's face. He asks Granada if he is fine with this, claiming it is a sacrifice for the greater good. Granada, weak and betrayed, calls him a swindler and a hypocrite. Hillen laughs maniacally. Burge speaks up, smiling darkly. He says he likes how vile and lowly Hillen is. He asks if that means Hillen will become weak again if he just takes off that ring. He asks if that is it. Hillen freezes, asking what. He then challenges Burge, daring him to try it if he can. He boasts that even the Demon King of Lust could not take the ring off of him. Burge simply speaks a single name, Gordon. In the next instant, Hillen's arm is cleanly severed from his body. Blood sprays into the air as Hillen screams in agony. He stares at his stump in disbelief, shouting that he did not feel a presence at all. Gordon stands behind him with his sword drawn. He coldly comments that Hillen is both rude and noisy for a human. Gordon strikes again, sending Hillen crashing violently across the ground. Hillen lies there, staring up in shock. He realizes that he was taken down by a mere high-ranking demon, even while wielding the artifact's power. A chill runs down his spine as pressure descends upon him. Suddenly, Burge appears behind him, gripping his shoulder. He tells Hillen he is not going anywhere. Hillen tries to dodge, but his body refuses to move. He sees a massive, shadowy wolf-shaped aura looming behind the Demon King. Hillen looks up in terror, realizing he cannot escape. He wonders just who this Demon King is. Burge gathers dark energy, the ground cracking beneath the weight of his power. He looks down at the hero. He says it is time to take a beating, Hillen Kargil. Burge unleashes a final, devastating wave of destruction. Hillen lies motionless on the devastated battlefield, still breathing despite the crushing defeat. Burge stands over him. He praises Hillen's resilience, saying it is impressive that he is still alive. He orders Granada to bind his hands and throw him in prison, along with the other humans who collapsed outside the door. Granada, who looks like a withered skeleton, croaks that he can see the afterlife. Burge tosses a spirit blossom to him, sarcastically calling it a carrot for his hard work. Energy surges into Granada as he consumes it. His withered form revitalizes instantly and he stares at his hands in disbelief. He shouts that he has fully recovered. Granada watches in shock as Burge heals the princess as well, wondering what just happened. He asks Burge to use that precious spirit blossom on him as well, only to realize he already did. Burge then addresses Loger, granting him permission to dismantle the tower. Loger is ecstatic, cheering woohoo and thanking the Demon King. Burge turns and leaves, his cape fluttering behind him. Granada observes that even after such a fierce battle, he looks completely fine. He thinks that this is as expected of a Demon King. Princess Ernin, however, stares at Burge retreating back with suspicion. Granada asks her what is wrong. She hesitates before saying it is nothing. Internally, she thinks the Demon King is tired. Away from prying eyes, Burge collapses to the floor, completely drained. He thinks it was so close. He reminds himself that a Demon King cannot afford to show weakness. He curses that human, Hillen Kargil. He reflects that this is what it means to be one of the 10 stars, the 10 strongest heroes on the continent. Although Hillen is one of the weakest ones, he is still formidable. Burge admits he has barely used any demonic energy points to strengthen himself in this life. He realizes that if Hillen had been in perfect condition, he never would have won. His plan exhausted him, triggered him, and threw him into a panic. Because of everything that had happened, Hillen's field of view narrowed and he showed an opening. As a result, Burge's all-out strike hit him. Burge sits up, a grin spreading across his face. He has achieved a perfect victory without following the Demon King's standards. He realizes this never happened in the past. He was able to successfully alter fate. He declares he can do it, he can change the future. Images of the heroes who killed him flash through his mind. He vows he can get revenge on those damn heroes. At the press conference hall in Holton Walk, chaos reigns. Investigators demand accountability, shouting to know who is responsible for this failure. Wharton stands firm, declaring they haven't failed yet and that there is still hope. He claims Sir Hillen Cargill and the great heroes haven't given up and are still searching for the Demon King's tower. He asks them to just give a bit more time. News about the new Demon King spreads rapidly across the entire continent. In the Hildren Kingdom, the king rages. He screams that the bastard Hillen Cargill talked big and asks now what. He threatens that if he cannot rescue the princess, he will be executed. Louise Werft eats angrily nearby, shouting that she does not care and just wants to find Loger. Rumors run wild, some say Hillen never came back, others say he is already dead. The world falls into deep sorrow. Because of that, Burge's demonic energy points pile up quickly, reaching 290,000. At the Heroes Guild headquarters, a council of elders interrogates Wharton. A senior hero asks if there is not even a hair's breadth of falsehood in what he said. Wharton swears on his name that he spoke only the truth. The elder concludes that this is a serious matter. However, since they do not know the identity of the new Demon King, they should be cautious. He states Hillen Cargill is one of the 10 stars and cannot be brought down easily. He decides they will wait 10 more days for news of him. If there is still nothing after 10 days, all heroes on the continent, 4,728 in total, will launch a full-scale assault. He declares they will eliminate the new Demon King. In the underground prison of Burge's tower, Hillen Cargill hangs in chains. Burge enters and asks if he is awake, nodding his recovery speed is exceptional. Hillen glares at him. He says if Burge kept him alive, he must want something. He tells him not to beat around the bush and get to the point. Burge smiles, saying it is nice to see he is open to talking. He commands, "Become my vassal." Hillen is stunned, asking what he just said and wondering if he heard wrong. Burge dumps a pile of gold coins onto the floor. He asks if the hero's journey cost a lot of money. He lists the expenses: food for hundreds, security, lodging, membership dues, armor, weapons, and top-grade consumables. Usually, those costs are covered by investments from merchant groups and nobles. If the Demon King is defeated, the heroes' lives are turned around. If they fail, however, they end up buried in debt. Burge leans in, stating that is what happens to heroes who take investments. He reveals that this time, all investments were focused on just one person, the hero party's captain, Hillen Cargill. Hillen realizes the truth. Even if he escapes, he will be branded a failed hero and chased by debt for the rest of his life. He asks, trembling, how the Demon King knows that. Granada steps out from behind Burge and says, "I told him." Hillen shouts Granada's name in betrayal. Granada yells back, asking if he has the nerve to say that after what he did to him, calling him a scammer. He reveals he was on this side from the very beginning. Burge explains the reason Hillen failed is because there has never been a Demon King like him until now. But just as he broke the standards, Hillen will soon adapt and find a way to clear the towers. Burge conjures a dark, pulsating sphere in his hand. He asks if one of the strongest heroes secretly interferes with those plans, can the humans really succeed? A notification identifies the item as Armani's orb. Hillen asks what that is. Burge explains it is a magic tool used to monitor his subordinates. Once it enters the body, it clings to the brain in an instant. He says he will know immediately if Hillen bears hostility toward him, and he can blow his brain apart with a single gesture. He adds that if the orb fails to adapt to his body, he will consider it as Hillen rejecting him and will kill him. Burge coldly states there are plenty of usable heroes anyway. Hillen panics, shouting for him to wait. He argues a hero as strong as him is immune to mind control magic. He claims the moment the orb enters his body, it will disappear and that it is not his fault. Granada retorts that a hero can dispel their mental defense by their own will. He smirks, telling Hillen, "You heard him." Hillen screams at the deranged elf, asking if he isn't ashamed of himself. Granada counters that Hillen is the one who should be ashamed. Hillen yells that they are just going to waste a precious magical tool. He vows he will never submit to a Demon King. Burge commands him to shut up and swallow. He forces the orb into Hillen's mouth. Hillen gags as the magic takes hold. Granada watches, commenting that Hillen is really tenacious. He asks Burge what they will do if he would rather die. Burge tells him not to worry. He says a greedy human who treats his comrades like they are disposable because of money will never sacrifice himself. A status window appears confirming Hillen Cargill's equipment is Armani's orb, and his status is the Demon King's vassal. Hillen curses in defeat. Later in the throne room, Gordon addresses the Demon King. He notes that although Hillen is now a vassal, with a massive debt of 100,000 gold, his activities will be heavily restricted. He points out the gold coins Burge exchanged previously only amounted to almost 2,000 gold. He asks how he plans to gather more. Burge smiles, saying it is about time he got a message. Gordon asks for clarification. Burge explains he is talking about the gathering of Demon Kings that is held once a year, the Unison of Towers. He thinks back to his previous life, where he never attended because he thought banding together was disgusting. But now he realizes that other demon kings who survived in Erin for a long time must have piled up plenty of gold and treasure. Gordon screams, realizing Burge is trying to exchange his demonic energy points for money again. Gordon admits he would have protested in the past, but after dealing with the heroes directly, he understands. He acknowledges that if they had followed the standards, they wouldn't have been able to stop the heroes. He sees a notification that an invitation to the Unison of Towers has arrived. He admits he has no choice but to accept it. Burge grins, he says let's go. He declares they are going to swindle his senior demon kings. Gordon resolutely affirms he can believe in him.